Hi, Simon here, GM8NYV, continuing with my Cr100 restoration. And as you can see from the chassis here, zoom that out a bit, I've started to mount the IF cans. This is IF 1 and 2, and number 4. Number 3 is to go in yet. Underneath is getting quite crowded. I'll show you that in a minute. Right, let's try and point out a few things. These are coaxes that run over to this side of the radio, to the audio valves and the detector valve. Now this is the can's got to go in there, so it's a bit tricky to get those in. So I'm going to solder them on first. Now I'll put this green tape in, because that's green tape just marks where it's going to go back in there, so I get an idea of where it's going to go. And according to this, I have to 5 that points inwards, so it's going to sit on like that. So these have to go to pin 3 and pin 2. And these are already in the right place. Then after that I'll show what's underneath. But these went in quite easily. They're not wired up, they're just sitting in there. The wires are all through. This is obviously the wire for the top cap. That's the top cap of that one. It needs to be cut obviously. Right, so I'll splice these wires, try and work out exactly where they're supposed to go, so that'll give me a bit of length. So I'm not much roundabout where my fingers are really. I'll do one at a time, so I'll do that one first. Just pause. I've cut these cables now to the right length. One goes to pin 2, one goes to pin 3. So I don't get confused, I'll put a red piece of heat shrink on this one. That's obviously pin 2. I don't have orange for pin 3, but obviously if it's not pin 2 it must be pin 3. I'm just going to solder these on here. Now, it's very hard to do to the camera because I need a magnifying glass. So. But I'll try without the magnifying glass. So I'll put heat shrink on them and I've tinned them. So I'll try and get number 3 in first. I'll just hook that round the best. See if I can get number 3 in there. Okay, that's hooked in there. Squeeze that up. Small blob of solder. That one, bend the tab up a little, the tab here, wedgie or something. Also not easy to do it to a camera, but we'll have a go. I'll see how I go on. Hoop. That in there. Okay. Screw that up. Move my magnifying glass out of the way, and I'm going to try and get that in. Now these were cut to the right length. I've taken a piece of tape off. I suppose in hindsight it may have been worth putting the cables on here first, putting them in, and then run them through and terminate them. But to do that, that means I would not have been able to do this side, the radio first. This side here is where these cables are running through the back, in a tube, and I wanted to get this finished first, all the insides as best I can finish before I mount the top components, so I can turn it upside down. So I suppose in hindsight I could have put the cables on and tried to get them in, but it seems to work out okay with this, so I'm going to try and now put that. Oops, they go through as well. Now this, that's where that mounts. Getting these nuts on, especially in this corner, is going to be tricky. I think I need to turn the whole thing over now. I might put a bit of tape just to hold that in place. Okay, let's try and get the nuts on. Now the tricky bit, I'll move the cam a little. This is underneath the chassis. This is a IF can I've just put in this corner here where my finger's in. These are the coax in this tube here, and they're soldered in. These are the other wires. Now if you look at this one here, this is the other can, IFT4. There's the nuts there. Not sure if it shows up very well on here, and there's one there. So it's very tricky. Right, I have a washer. And a nut. Oops. To go on anyway. See how far I get. The washer's on. Zoom out a little. If I can get that on. I would say it's what order do you do it in? I mean, it would have been easy to put these in first, but then I'd have to have the chassis raised off the ground to put all the rest of the stuff in. I thought it was easier to get most of the insides in first. Anyway, I can't go any further now until I get these things wired up, so we'll just persevere with this. Alright, that's it over the top. It's a pair of tweezers, I'm just sort of gripping them. I'll get it started. That's it. So to do that, these are great little tweezers here. Another washer falling out. Try to get this washer in the corner. Easy. Third time lucky. This could take a while, so I'll pause the video just now. Right, well, the fiddly managed to get this. Oops, this torch isn't great. Managed to get it started with the tweezers there. Just rotate these. These aren't bad, these tweezers. These are. Let's get it down as far as we can go. These are like locking tweezers. Squeeze them, they open. Right, now hopefully a small socket on it. A small socket on that one. Spin that one up. This little socket here. Spin that one up there, I think. Right, the socket's not going to go on the end. Never mind. I'll use these little old-fashioned spanners. I think it could be that one. that's what I'll do. I'll tighten all these up and come back in a minute. Well, that's it with all the IF cans in. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I thought there's one more to go in. This is not really an IF can, but it's the transformer and the variable capacitor for the for the BFO, which goes in here. So it has to be mounted in there yet. None of these are wired up, of course. I thought just have a quick rundown of how far it's going so far and have a look inside, see how crowded it's getting now to wire it up. Right, this is inside. I've mounted it on a few boots here, so you can see the cables are getting quite congested. This is new plastic tubing here to run these cables in. That's to go off to the this capacitor here. I'm just going to try the bits and pieces in it just to see how crowded it gets. I mean, these are the IF cans. They haven't been wired up yet. They're still need to be wired up, and also I'll do that before I put anything in it. But I'll just put lines to protect from the scratching. I'll put the coil pack in. So this is the coil pack. That's what sits in there. This will be the last thing I think I'll put in. Alright, so that sits there. This is the can that went over this little board and components. Just place it in roughly. Top of that we've got the pass band switch. This here, and let's just temporarily put that in here. As it's getting more and more crowded, so it's getting harder and harder to wire up. So I'm going to do it bit by bit. So that's why I had this capacitor out. So that goes in there, roughly. Now then, the other board is the HF. The HF component. Remember that's slotted in here. So. This has like slots cut in it, the cables to come through. So I'll just put it in roughly anyway. Where that's going to go. Apart from the transformer and a few other pieces that still got to mount inside, that is it really. What it'll look like when it's finished. So I'm getting closer. Still two minds what to do about with the wave change switch goes through on this side here. Obviously I don't have it to hand, but there's a drum on there that takes the cable, or more the string really, that moves the scale for the different bands. Now, is it easier to do that first, put it in, but I mean mounting the tuning capacitor first, or is it easier to do it from the top? We'll see. But I'll face that when I come to it. Anyway, so that's it so far, slowly progressing. These are the from the mode switch, it needs to be wired up to here, and then there's cables onto the backboard here. There's a few more things to do. There's one or two more components to go in. These I've left out. There's capacitors that go in here. There's two of them. They go above the transformer. I thought it was easier to get the transformer mounted before I put these in. So that's it so far. Progressing steadily. That's my new switch in. Quite close to the case there, but I think it'll be okay. I'll insulate all that, of course. So that's it for now, and catch you next time.